Hello, fellow traders. Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you Monday, August the 17th, the year's 2020. Let's talk trading. Let's talk trading with Walmal. I've got Walmal on the line, and just so you traders know, these videos are for educational purpose only. Your results may differ from mine and from Walmal's. Trading is extremely risky. You can lose all of your money. If you need trading, investment, or financial advice, seek the advice of an accredited financial professional. So, Walmall, how's things going?
Things going pretty good. This morning I went and my first hour of trading, I was able to go and make my core. Took me two trades to do it, but and so it's not the way you'd like to do it, where you get it on one trade, but that's okay. I mean, I went and made 3 pips, and then got out because I just didn't like the way the market looked to me. It's that old adage again of trading what you see, and what I saw didn't look good, and I'm glad that I did jump out with that +3, because by doing that I preserved that +3, and then the market ran against me, and I would have wound up, if I let it, it could have gone all the way to my stop loss of 10. So you got to trade what you see. And then the second trade came along, and took that trade, and off of that trade I was able to go and get about 7 pips, I think is what I took off of it. Tried to get out at 9, but market moved against me and stole 2 pips from me on the way out.
Yeah.
So, just what happens sometimes.
Can you explain to somebody just watching this video what you mean by core?
Sure. What I mean by core is that I have, in my trading plan, my goal, okay, for every day. I call it core. Some people would call it your goal, but my goal is to make 10 pips every day based on the number of lots that I trade. And the way that I came up with that is that I had figured out exactly, well, not exactly, but how much I'd like to make each day on average, and then I just divide that by the fact that I know that I can usually get 10 pips pretty easily during the day. Divide that by 10 pips, and that told me how many lots I had to use. So that 10 pips is my goal of my core.
Yeah, so in other words, your price per pip times your core equals your goal.
That's exactly right. My money goal. That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Hey,
So,
since you hadn't been around for a while, there was I think I had teased you or told the traders, I told on you about you had a one day, I think you had a loss a couple weeks ago, and then you came roaring back or something.
yeah, I think we talked about it in a video. I'm not sure, but yeah, I had a day. It was on I remember it because it was on a Thursday. When you have bad days, it's amazing how you remember those bad days really, really, really well. But I had a bad day, and by the end of the day, I don't remember how much I was. At one point in time, I was probably down 20 or 30 pips during the day, and the thing is, retrospect, going back, looking, did I violate my trading plan? No. Did I violate my methods? Nope. It just, sometimes that just happens, and and then the following day, I was able to not only go and make that up, but I was able to make that up, make my core for the week, and that's what's important. And the important thing about that, I think, that TRO, is just simply this: is that you have to go and build into your trading plan the idea that you're going to have losing days. That's going to happen. You're going to have losing days. I think you even said that in your video that you put out yesterday, that you may have a losing day, but what is your goal? Is your goal to be profitable overall? Yes, it is. So that may mean that I maybe have a losing day today, but I have a winning week and a winning month. And at the end of it all, that's what matters. And you're on top. So and I think that the most important thing that that the day where I had the loss like that, when I was down like 30 pips or so, I just continued to trade. I did not go and change my method of trading. I did not change any of that, because the reason why is because I know statistically it does work. What I'm doing, I know statistically works. So if I just continue doing it, the reality is that I'm going to make up those 30 pips. So at the end of the day, I think I was down maybe 10 pips. I was still down for the day. Okay, that's fine. That's trading sometimes. So I'm down in my core. So that means that what I have to do on Friday, if I was going to go and make up for that, I've got to make my 10 for the day and also make the 10, from the day that I lost before. But I don't go into it looking at that. And the reason why is because my trading plan says my goal is to make 10 pips per day. It doesn't say to go and make 20 pips per day. So what can very easily happen is I walk into the day, I've got to make 20 pips today, I've got to make 20 pips today. And the next thing you know, you find yourself over trading, you find yourself going into trades that are marginal, and you wind up getting yourself into even more problems. So what did I do? I went into the day saying, I need to make 10 pips. Why? Because I know in my trading plan that there are approximately 240 trading days in a year. Okay, that I can go and trade. That means that in the 240 days, I have basically 104 days I take off because of the weekends. I've got built in 2 weeks of vacation. I got built in, 2 weeks of holidays that come up during the year. And so what I'm left with is 240 days. But I based my trading plan on 200 days of profitable trading. That means I can go and have 40 days of unprofitable trading as long as I know, I'm keeping within that 10 pip range. Okay, that's great. That's wonderful because I don't put undue pressure on myself. I don't walk away and feel like, oh, what am I going to do tomorrow? Be Eeyore, as they say.
Yeah, it's one thing is, I don't know if you've been reading some of the YouTube comments or Facebook comments, but there's always seems to be, a trader says, well, you're making these 2 pips and 3 pip wins. What about when you take that 20 or 30 pip loss?
Well, I don't take a 20 or 30 pip loss. That's the first thing, because my trading plan doesn't allow me to do that.
Yeah.
My trading plan says I'm allowed to go. The maximum I can take is a 10 pip loss. And if I take more than a 10 pip loss, Tiro, I have permission for you. In fact, I'll buy the airline ticket. You come out here to Georgia and you slap me upside my head.
With a 2x4, right?
With a 2x4, exactly right. So if you think about it, if you get a 10 pip, you get a 10 pip loss. Let's go and talk about that practically. Let's say you take a 10 pip loss. Okay, my trading plan says is 10-5-1. I'm looking for 10 pips as a win. Okay, I'm willing to take 5, and if I have to, I'll take 1. As my. Well, let's go and average that out. 10 plus 5 plus 1 is 16. Divide that by 3, that's 5. That means I'm going to get somewhere, typically on my winning trades, I get somewhere between, 4 and 5 pips when you average them all out. That tells me that I really only need to go and have 3 winning trades in a row. Well, I also know, based on looking at statistics, looking at all of my trades, because I track every one of my trades, and when I look at it, I win 76% of the time. That means I win 3 out of 4. Okay, on average, I win 3 out of 4. That does not mean that I couldn't lose 4 in a row. I've had that happen to me. Okay, it doesn't happen often, but I've had it happen to me. But usually, when I lose, 3 or 4 in a row, I win 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 in a row. So you go and add that up, do that math. What you find is that you wind up on top. And I'm not looking to go and make 100 pips a day. I mean, some guys do, and more power to them. But that's not my way of trading. My trading plan says to make 10 pips. So if I go down 20 pips or 30 pips for the day, and I keep on going at it and going at it and going at it, and not making bad trades, sticking to my plan, not going and airballing it, at the end of the day, I may not make up that 20 or 30 pips because that's a big jump to go and make up. But I know by Friday I will, And, and a perfect example is it happened to me on a Thursday. And by Friday I made it up. And that's all that matters.
Yeah. Now, for some of the new traders, how many different entry methods do you use?
I use two methods. I use the Walmal, and then I use what I call DSR, which we really haven't talked about much here on these videos. Someday we probably ought to put together a small little series on that. But those are the 2 methods that I use. And Walmal has kind of incorporated your H1 breaks, and I now have in my trading plan incorporated H1 breaks into the Walmal method. And what I mean by that is that if I'm breaking the previous hour's high or the previous hour's low, I'll go and jump in there, as well as just the regular Walmal lines that happen at 0, 10, 20, all the way up to 90. So it really is the same method. The only difference is it just gives me an additional 2 lines that may happen. And then, of course, what I really look for, what I love is I love to go and find a Walmal line that happens to land right on top of an H1 break as well, because those trades usually are pretty profitable.
Yeah, so like I'm just pulling up the chart here. So the last hour, the previous high was, if I can get, was at 94, and the Walmal line was at 00. So if you take that 94 break, since it occurred before the 00, there was an easy 6 pips, and then after the 00, there was another 10 or 11 pips to be had.
Yep. And in fact, I got, we were on the phone at the time, and I got 2 of those trades. So
Yeah.
I also took a loss on one of them too, on a different trade, but that's neither here nor there. But I took that loss, but because of those other 2 trades that were profitable, I was able to make up that one loss.
Okay,
and put some money in the bank.
So for some of the traders, just to be clear, you've got 2 different entry methods, and then how many different exit methods do you have?
I have one exit method.
That's your 10-5-1.
That's my 10-5-1. Exactly right.
Right.
And and then you could also go and say it's 3, -3, 7, and 10. Right. And the idea behind that is that if I'm up 3, I won't let the trade go more than 3 pips against me. Okay. If it just immediately goes against me, I'll get out at 7 pips, or once the H1 candle turns the other color for me. In other words, if I have a green H1 when I got into the trade and the H1 turns red on me, I get out. And then I'll let it run to 7. Is the last one if that hasn't happened yet. And the reason why I have 10 there, that's my emergency break. So that just gets put in every time. The other stop losses, I just do that by hand manually. But whenever I go into a trade, I just immediately have a stop loss of 10 pips that are put in there. So in case something happens, I get up and walk away from the desk because something happens here in my home or whatever. I know I'm protected.
Right.
Hopefully that makes some sense.
So do you you've got 2 entry methods? Is that enough?
It's more than enough. I really only need one, to be honest with you. And generally speaking, what I do is to get my core, I don't look at the DSR method. I just look at the Walmal lines, because that's just that's what puts the as they say, the butter on the bread, or actually just puts the bread on the table, and so it's just, that's all I need to make core. I use the DSR as really putting butter on the bread. So in other words, what I'm doing with that is picking up a few pips here and there, just to go and have something extra, or if I want to go and buy something or whatever. But the reality is, all I need is one method. That's all I need. And the reality is, I could either use the Walmal lines or the DSR. I don't care. Either one of them I'm comfortable with. Either one will go and, take care of my 10 pips. It's just that the Walmal method is the thing that I developed based on your ideas. So that's the thing I'm most comfortable with. That's the thing that's usually easier for me to get my core during the day. So that's the one I'm going to jump on. The DSR thing is, again, something I kind of took something that you were doing and modified it and changed it around and it made it work for me. And so it's just that I've only been doing that since maybe March or April, whereas the Walmal lines I've been doing since I don't know, June of last year, maybe even earlier than that.
Right. And the 15 minutes, fastest 15 minutes in trading is up again. But, this hour here, if anybody had taken that 00 break, you could have had, 10 or more pips right there on the chart. But if you didn't take those 10 pips, well, the market was just taking it right back. So, it's nice if you can hit those 50, 100, 300 pip runs or something. But, it's those things you just can't seem to get on a regular recurring basis. So fellow traders, just remember, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So get out there and drain the banks. And remember to subscribe and hit that like button. The Rumpled